when I took over the doctoral program, people said to me, "So you're replacing Ted Ward?" Give me a break. I think to honor Ted, what I'd like to do is do a quick simulation. So I'm going to ask you to turn to the person on your right and twist them into the shape of a fish. Okay, we won't do that. Let me tell you my first impressions of Ted. Prior to coming to TEDS to serve on the faculty, he offered a lectureship for us on moral development. And he complained to me that he wasn't fully, adequately prepared for the final presentation. This is something he could have done in his sleep. And so I tried to take some anxiety away from him, and I said, you really don't have to worry about it, because Friday is a notoriously low chapel attendance day. And he looked at me painfully. He said, "But that has nothing to do with me." And I realized that it didn't matter to him the size of the audience, that his preparation still had to be superb. I thought, this is one interesting man. We were at the National Association of Professors of Christian Education meetings in Los Angeles one time, and we did a field trip to the Crystal Cathedral. And I'm there trying to make sense of this place and how in the world it works and, what is going on here. And he looked at me and saw the consternation in my face. He says, he used to call me Downsy. He says, "Downsy, don't try and process it. Just be a tourist." Let me tell you about his service here at TEDS. We had put together an EDD program, and Warren Benson, after years of cajoling, finally convinced him to leave MSU and finish with us, helping to develop this program. And so both Linda Cannell and I, in effect, did a second doctoral program under TED, learning the social science research paradigm and how to bring the best out of doctoral students. In our first meeting with Ted, when he was in charge, he's speaking with the doctoral students, and we were sitting there casually taking notes like, okay, chapter 1 of a dissertation is introduction to the problem, chapter 2 is the research, the precedent research, because we didn't have any of these things in our minds at all. And we learned from him. I used to sit in his classes, and I'd take 2 sets of notes. One set of notes was one on what he was teaching, but the second set of notes was on how he was teaching, because it was amazing to watch him work a class and to bring the best out of the students. He stressed to us at Trinity the necessity of qualitative research, in which educational theory and practice could be grounded and must be grounded, that we needed to do qualitative before we did quantitative. And that to us was an incredibly important insight, because frankly, it changed everything for us. Research for TED was more than a single act, a process of completing a dissertation. It was a way of seeing, a way of understanding, a way to get beneath the surface of things and to see what was actually going on. For Ted, and he taught us, it was a way of discovering truth. And he taught us never to fear truth, because we serve a God of truth. And so we always sought after the truth in whatever we were teaching and thinking about. He was instilling within us a passion for valuing insight and understanding in the students. And that became a driving force for the doctoral program at TEDS, to value the students, value their perspective, value their insight, and help them to move along and to develop further. He taught us that the role of the educator is not to change students, but to help them to develop and to help them become who God was calling them to be. And he would say to us, don't try to change them, develop them. And the way you do that is to be a disruptive force in the life of the learner. And he was an excellent disruptor in any context in which he found himself. It would be infuriating and exhilarating all at once. And he would take a biblical text and open it up in a different way, like you had never seen before, as Junius just talked about. And you just go, the insights were breathtaking. Let me tell you about my very last visit with Ted. Linda called me and said, Ted is in Highland Park Hospital, and he won't come out. He's dying. And of course, I knew he was extremely ill. And because I'm caring for my own wife who is dying, I was not able to visit him nearly as much as I wanted to. But I went down to Highland Park Hospital, and Margaret and Pastor Michael were there, and they graciously stepped out of the room to give me time alone with Ted. He told me he was going to die that day. He was wrong. He lasted 2 more days. And I guess even Ted couldn't control the universe. I asked him if he was ready, and he assured me that he was. And I'd asked Mom, Margaret, have you given him permission to die? And she said yes. We said goodbye this morning. And so he held my hand as we talked, and I thanked him for being such a wonderful mentor and friend, telling him that his life had made a difference in countless lives around the world. I asked him if I could do something, and he said, Downsy, you may do whatever you like. And so I offered a final blessing over him. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you his peace both now and forevermore. And I said, Ted, we will meet again at the feet of Jesus, beneath the mercy seat. And then I asked him, may I kiss you on your forehead? And he said, you can do whatever you want. And so I bent over and I kissed him on his forehead. And he said to me, Downsy, you can kiss my foot if you want to. I didn't want to. When we were finished laughing, he said to me, make sure you tell that story. And so I promised him that I would. And Ted, I kept my promise. Lord, I will miss that man. But as we have heard today, he that does the will of God endures forever. Amen.